In the year 2257, every alien civilization in the galaxy trembled before the unstoppable onslaught of the Ferengi, everyone except the defiant humans of Earth. Gather round, cadets. Let me tell you about the day humanity stared down the barrel of a gun held by the most ruthless conquerors in the universe, Commander Ricky Campbell said, his voice gruff from decades of barking orders across the void of space. The young Terran Military Academy students huddled closer, their eyes wide with anticipation. Ricky's mind drifted back to that fateful moment when the Ferengi warfleet first cast its shadow across the Sol system. 1,000 sleek, menacing ships emerged from the inky depths of space, each one bristling with advanced weaponry capable of reducing planets to smoldering rubble. At the helm of this armada stood Warlord Wren, a cunning strategist who had already brought hundreds of worlds to their knees. The Ferengi's reputation preceded them, a race of merciless warriors who enslaved entire civilizations using their mind-control technology and plasma cannons. As a young lieutenant in the Earth Defense Fleet, Ricky remembered the icy tendrils of fear that gripped his heart when Wren's flagship, the FFS Dread Conqueror, loomed over Earth like a harbinger of doom. The massive vessel broadcast horrifying scenes of past conquests, showing the grim fate that awaited those who dared resist the Ferengi's iron rule. Despair hung thick in the air as Earth's leaders grappled with an impossible choice: surrender and face a life of servitude, or fight and risk total annihilation. The Ferengi had never known defeat, their energy shields impervious to even the most advanced weapons of their vanquished foes. But as Ricky looked around at his fellow soldiers, he saw something different in their eyes, a flicker of defiance, a stubborn refusal to bend the knee. The humans of Earth had always been a resilient bunch, facing down impossible odds with nothing but grit and determination. The fate of humankind hung in the balance as they dared to stand against their alien overlords. Ricky's eyes shined with pride as he recounted what happened next. President Amanda Hawkins gathered humanity's best and brightest. She said, "I know you're scared. I am too. But I'll be damned if I let those Ferengi bastards enslave us without a fight." That woman had a fire in her belly, let me tell you. She convinced all of Earth to stand together against impossible odds, just because we were too stubborn to kneel. The cadets leaned forward, hanging on Ricky's every word. Just when things looked bleakest, we got a lifeline. An alien race called the Zorgons contacted us saying the Ferengi had conquered them 100 years back. Their leader, Zax, made us an offer. In exchange for a promise to free their homeworld, they'd give us their advanced tech to even the playing field. Ricky chuckled. Hawkins didn't even blink. She took that deal faster than a Venusian sand snake strikes. Next thing I know, my squad is suiting up in Zorgon power armor that made us twice as strong and fast. The energy rifles they gave us could melt through Ferengi shields like a plasma torch through butter. He gestured to the gleaming medal on his chest. They called us Raven Squad, the tip of the spear in humanity's last stand. Training with that Zorgon gear, I started to think we might actually have a shot against those conquering alien pricks. Ricky's expression darkened as painful memories resurfaced. But nothing could have prepared us for the sheer chaos of real combat. The Ferengi hit our orbital defenses like a tidal wave of destruction. I watched their plasma blasts tear through our ships, vaporizing soldiers I'd known for years in an instant. The comm channels were filled with a cacophony of screams, desperate orders, and garbled static. Ricky's heart pounded against his ribs as he and Raven Squad fought tooth and nail to repel the Ferengi boarding parties that swarmed onto the defense platforms. The acrid stench of melted metal and charred flesh choked the recycled air. Ricky paused, his eyes distant as he recalled the harrowing mission that had taken Raven Squad deep into the heart of the Ferengi flagship. "We knew we had to take out that reactor," he said, his voice low and steady. "It was the only way to give Earth a fighting chance." With the Zorgon stealth tech cloaking their approach, Ricky and his team, his right-hand man Jake Thompson, sniper extraordinaire Emily Chen, and demo whiz Alex Petrov, slipped aboard the Dread Conqueror like ghosts. But even the best-laid plans go sideways in the heat of battle. The Ferengi had these energy shields that could soak up a hail of bullets like it was nothing, Ricky explained, his brow furrowing at the memory. And their plasma rifles? One hit, and you were toast. We had to play it smart, use our training to outmaneuver them in those tight corridors. Raven Squad carved a path of calculated destruction through the bowels of the alien ship. Their Zorgon-enhanced reflexes and split-second teamwork, the only things keeping them alive against the relentless Ferengi onslaught. Plasma bolts sizzled past Ricky's helmet as he and Jake laid down covering fire, allowing Emily and Alex to pick off the enemy one by one with surgical precision. But as they neared their target, a new threat emerged. That's when Ren showed up, Ricky said, his jaw tightening. The bastard had been watching us the whole time, waiting for the right moment to strike. The Ferengi warlord was a sight to behold, a writhing mass of serpentine muscle and gleaming scales, with eyes that glowed like the pits of hell itself. Ren's voice boomed through the reactor room, a sinister challenge that echoed in Ricky's bones. He said he'd spare Earth if I could beat him in single combat, Ricky recalled, a mirthless chuckle escaping his lips. Like some kind of twisted alien honor duel, but what choice did I have? The fate of humanity was riding on this mission. With a quick nod to his team, Ricky stepped forward to face Ren alone. The Ferengi's movement was a blur, his speed and strength far beyond anything Ricky had ever encountered, but he had a few tricks up his sleeve, courtesy of the Zorgon's advanced tech. Ricky and Ren clashed in a deadly dance, exchanging blows that would have shattered ordinary men. The human's Zorgon armor absorbed the worst of the impact, but he could feel it buckling under the relentless assault. Ricky retaliated with a flurry of strikes, his energy blade humming as it sliced through the air, seeking any weakness in the warlord's defenses. The battle raged on, neither combatant willing to yield. Ricky's muscles burned with exertion, his breath coming in ragged gasps as he pushed himself beyond his limits. Ren was a formidable opponent, his centuries of conquest granting him an edge in experience and sheer brutality. But at the last second, Ricky summoned a final surge of strength. His muscles screamed in agony as he unleashed a relentless barrage of strikes, his energy blade a blur of motion. Ren, caught off guard by the human's sudden ferocity, faltered for just a heartbeat. It was all Ricky needed. With a primal roar he lunged forward, driving his blade deep into the warlord's chest. The searing plasma sliced through Ren's armor like it was paper, piercing his twisted heart. The Ferengi's eyes widened in shock as he crumpled to the floor, his lifeblood pooling beneath him. As Ren lay dying, he fixed Ricky with a malevolent glare. "You may have defeated me, human," he rasped, his voice a gurgling whisper, "but you have no idea what you've unleashed." Ricky had no time to ponder the cryptic warning. With Ren dead, he and his team raced to the reactor core, planting Alex's demolition charges with practiced efficiency. They barely made it to the hangar bay before the explosions began, the dread Conqueror shuddering as it tore itself apart from within. Raven Squad piled into a Ferengi shuttle, Ricky taking the controls as they rocketed away from the doomed flagship. Through the viewports, he watched in awe as the mighty vessel erupted in a blinding flash of light, debris hurtling through the void. Across the battlefield, the Ferengi fleet fell into disarray. Without Ren's iron fist to guide them, the alien ships milled about in confusion, easy pickings for the reinvigorated EDF forces. Flashes of light filled the void as the human fleet pressed their advantage, plasma cannons and Zorgon energy weapons ripping through the Ferengi shields like they were gossamer. One by one, the alien vessels fell, some exploding in brilliant fireballs, others limping away into the depths of space, trailing smoke and debris. The once unstoppable Ferengi armada had been shattered, their dreams of conquest crushed by the indomitable will of humanity. As Ricky guided the shuttle back to Earth, he felt a swell of pride in his chest. Against all odds, they had done it. They had stood against the Ferengi and emerged victorious. The streets of every city on the planet erupted in celebration as news of the victory spread, the weary populace embracing their newfound freedom with tears of joy and shouts of triumph. Ricky and Raven Squad found themselves hailed as heroes, their names etched into the annals of history, alongside the greatest warriors of legend. They were paraded through the streets, showered with accolades and praise from a grateful populace. But even as the celebrations raged around him, Ricky couldn't shake the feeling of unease that gnawed at his gut. Ren's final words echoed in his mind, a portentous whisper that sent chills down his spine. As he gazed up at the stars, he couldn't help but wonder what other dangers lurked in the vast expanse of the galaxy, waiting to test humanity's resolve once again. As Ricky's tale drew to a close, the old soldier's voice grew heavy with the weight of memory. He fixed the young cadets with a haunted stare, his eyes filled with a pain that time could never erase. "But our victory over the Ferengi came at a terrible cost," he said, his voice barely more than a whisper. "In the final moments of the battle aboard the Dread Conqueror, my best friend and second-in-command, Jake Thompson, gave his life to save mine." Ricky's mind drifted back to that fateful moment, the image forever seared into his memory. He and Jake had been fighting side by side, cutting down Ferengi warriors with their Zorgon energy blades, when a group of the serpentine aliens had managed to flank them. Jake had seen the danger first, shoving Ricky out of the way just as a barrage of plasma bolts tore through his armor. Ricky had cradled his friend's broken body in his arms, hot tears streaming down his face as he watched the life drain from Jake's eyes. With his last breath, Jake had gripped Ricky's hand, his words a fierce, whispered plea. "Keep fighting, Ricky. No matter the odds, promise me." And fight Ricky did. In the years that followed, as humanity learned the true scope of the threats that lurked among the stars, he threw himself into battle after battle, driven by a relentless determination to honor his fallen friend's final wish. But it seemed that Ren's dying words had been a prophecy of sorts. With the Ferengi defeated, other alien races, each more powerful and ruthless than the last, had risen to fill the void. The Krell, the Xanthrians, the Vorak, each new foe brought fresh horrors, testing humanity's resolve to its very limits. Ricky and his Raven squad became living legends, their names whispered with reverence and awe among the ranks of the EDF. Time and again, they ventured into the heart of darkness, striking at the enemy with a ferocity that bordered on madness. And yet, no matter how many victories they achieved, no matter how many alien warlords fell before their guns and blades, Ricky couldn't shake the feeling that they were fighting a losing battle. As the years turned into decades, the toll of endless war began to show. Earth, once united in the face of the Ferengi threat, fractured into a patchwork of warring nations, each scrambling for the scraps of dwindling resources. The EDF, the once proud shield of humanity, found itself stretched to the breaking point, its ranks thinned by countless battles and its once shining ideals tarnished by the grim realities of a galaxy at war. And now, as an old man, Ricky looked out upon a world he scarcely recognized. The great cities of his youth lay in ruins, their towering spires reduced to rubble by decades of orbital bombardment. The lush green forests and rolling hills of Earth had been replaced by blasted wastelands, the once vibrant tapestry of life reduced to a dull, lifeless gray. Ricky turned back to the cadets, his voice a hoarse whisper. "We may have won the battle against the Ferengi," he said, "but in the end, we lost the war for our own humanity." The old soldier fell silent, his tale at an end. The cadets sat in stunned silence, their minds reeling as they struggled to process the bitter legacy of humanity's first contact with the stars. Ricky's words hung in the air like a pall, a final haunting testament to the price of survival in a galaxy gone mad. In the distance, the sound of gunfire echoed across the ruined landscape, a grim reminder that the war was far from over. Ricky's eyes drifted to the horizon, where You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.